People often talk about the importance of setting boundaries, and it might sound like one of those topics that are overflogged, but if you are truly intentional about setting boundaries, you begin to realize that there's a certain peace that comes with it. So in this video, I'll be talking about setting boundaries in your relationships and interactions with people for inner peace. My name is Chris and you are welcome. So, to truly find peace from setting boundaries in your interactions with people, it's very important that you understand why you need to set those boundaries. People might think that setting boundaries is all about being antagonistic or being strong and defensive, but no, that is not the point. You see, boundaries are put in place to help us protect our energy. They are in place to help us maintain our sanity. Without boundaries, anything goes. People can speak to you however they want, and they feel like they can get away with it because you've not established any boundaries with them. So instead of seeing establishing boundaries as something that entails negativity or you being antagonistic, you need to start seeing it as a protection that you set up for yourself. So this is not about you trying to fight with anybody. It's not about you trying to be adversarial with people. You are all about protecting your peace and sanity. And those boundaries, having them in place, would help you achieve that. And when people, say that you are doing too much or you're going overboard with it, you might just want to let them know that that is your own way of protecting yourself. It's your own way of keeping your sanity. Otherwise, you might just lose it altogether. To set boundaries for inner peace, you need to recognize your limits. At what point do you begin to feel uncomfortable? At what point do you start feeling like you're being taken advantage of? If you feel some type of way about it, then your feelings are valid. Don't make excuses for people. Don't try to justify their actions. Don't start feeling like, oh, you are probably overthinking it or you're taking things out of context. No. If they start making you feel uncomfortable, then you need to put boundaries in place because if you don't, they will continue to make you feel uncomfortable to a point where you can't take it anymore and might end up doing something drastic. Okay, be alert, pay attention. Don't think that they do the things they do by mistakes. No, people are a lot smarter than we usually think. Half the time, people know what they are doing. Yes, mistakes happen, but they are rare. When people interact with you, their interactions come from a place of thought. They thought things through. They have given it a considerable amount of time before deciding to either say those words or act the way they do. So there are no mistakes. If you start feeling some type of way, that's your cue to put boundaries in place if you haven't done that already. It's also very important that you communicate your boundaries clearly. Sometimes people might not get it. People might think that, oh, it's business as usual. I can speak to him or her that way and get away with it. I can do this to them and get away with it. It's up to you to put them in check, okay? Communicate what is acceptable and not acceptable to you. And you have to be very firm about it. Yeah, you can be firm and kind. Yes, it's possible. This is not acceptable, okay? It's not acceptable for you to speak to me that way. It's not acceptable. If you speak to me that way again, I will walk away. I will not have this conversation with you because they need to realize that you are making out time to have that conversation with them. You might decide not to be there for that conversation. So if they want you to keep being there to stay, they need to speak to you with respect. Make it very clear. When you communicate your boundaries very clearly to people, you are justified to react when they step out of line. But if you haven't communicated your boundaries to them, then they might just say, well, you never told me. How was I supposed to know when you never told me? So it's very important so you don't give them an excuse to justify their action. Consistency is very important when it comes to establishing boundaries for inner peace. Don't say one thing today and do something different tomorrow. Your boundaries become a way of life between you and the people you engage with when you are consistent with them. Don't be quick to lower your boundaries because they don't sit well with others. No, those boundaries were put in place by you in the first place to protect your peace. That's why it's very essential that you understand why you are having those boundaries in the first place. They are to protect your peace. So if you're not consistent with them, it means that your peace would be troubled, your peace would be taken away. Remain consistent across relationships with different people because if you act a certain way with one person and then you act differently with another person, then you're not being fair because that person you're being so firm with could say, okay, you're not that way with other people or you're not that way with that other person. Why is it just me? And then it might look like you're picking and choosing, you're not treating people equally. So you need to be consistent. When you're consistent, the message is very clear and people would relate and interact with you based off of your interactions with other people. They can see the message even before they get to speak to you or interact with you one on one. While you establish your boundaries with people, you need to anticipate pushbacks. Most people are not going to just do whatever you say or relate with you how you want them to. Most people will outrightly disrespect your boundaries. So you need to be prepared because if you're not, you might be taken unawares. Anticipating their pushbacks enables you to make your message even clearer, to reaffirm, to reiterate yourself. When they push back, you need to stand firm. You need to let them know what is acceptable, okay? It's all right for them to push back. You're not saying they shouldn't. However, if they're going to interact with you or do anything with you, they must respect your boundaries. Otherwise, you are not going to have it. You're not going to sit back and entertain whatever it is they are up to. Okay, their pushbacks can be better managed by you if you anticipate them. All right, so be aware that as you go about establishing your boundaries for your inner peace, those boundaries might not be respected, and it's up to you to stand firm, believing and reinforcing them. Establishing boundaries is not a tug of war. It shouldn't be. It's your own way of protecting your inner peace. And when you communicate that clearly to people, if they are reasonable, it shouldn't be a problem. You need to understand that humans in general like to push their luck. They like to, just try things and see how the recipient would react. So you need to be firm in letting them know what you will accept and not accept. My name is Chris, and it was nice talking to you in this one. See you in the next one.